Hi there, students. In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve for a missing side using trigonometry. Number one, we have a right triangle. Angle B is 37 degrees. Side AC is missing. We're going to use trigonometry to figure out that side. Notice for this triangle, we only know what side AB is, 10.3. Since we only know what one side length is, we cannot use Pythagorean theorem. If we knew two sides, we could use Pythagorean theorem. The advantage of trigonometry is that we can use it when we know just one side and at least one angle. Let's get to it. The first thing I'll have you do is label the triangle. That is the first thing you always want to do, is to label the triangle. If you label the triangle, setting up your trig ratio will be much easier. Start with the angle given and go across that angle. That side is opposite. Then go to the 90-degree angle and go across. That side is hypotenuse. Whichever side is left is called adjacent. Always label opposite first, go to the angle, go across, that's opposite. Then go to the 90-degree angle, go across, that's hypotenuse. Whichever side is left is automatically adjacent. Once you label your side lengths, write SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA stands for the trig ratios. Sine of an angle, theta. Theta stands for the angle. Sine is OH, opposite divided by hypotenuse. Cosine is A divided by H, adjacent divided by hypotenuse. Tangent is O divided by A. Tangent of an angle is opposite divided by adjacent. So let's set it up. We're going to look at what is given. We know that opposite is x, and we know that hypotenuse is 10.3. Adjacent has nothing on it. Since adjacent has nothing on it, that means we don't use it. So we're going to cross off anything that has an A, right? This has an A and this has an A. We're not using that because adjacent was not given. So we'll automatically see that we have to use the sine. So we're going to set up the sine. Sine of 37 degrees, theta is 37, is opposite, which is x, over hypotenuse, 10.3. So we have our trig ratio set up. Now we just use inverse operations. We're trying to get x by itself, so we're going to multiply both sides by 10.3. So that means that x equals 10.3 times the sine. Well, we don't have to use parentheses because in the calculator you're going to have more parentheses, times the sine of 37 degrees. Put this in your calculator. Make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Sometimes it can go into radian. It needs to be in degree mode. So I'm going to go to the calculator and press 10.3 times the sine of 37 degrees. 6.198 equals x. I'm going to round to the nearest tenth and the nearest hundredth because you always have questions that ask you for both. 6.198. You always have questions that ask you for both. So if we round to the nearest tenth, the answer would be 6.2 because we look at the 9, so the 1 turns into a 2. If we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, x would equal 6.19. We look at the 8. The 8's going to make the 9 go up, but 9 can't go up anymore. So then the 1's going to go up again as well. 6.2. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Okay, again, the first thing we do is label the triangle. Go to the angle, go across, that's opposite. Go to the 90 degree, go across, that's hypotenuse. Whatever is left is adjacent. Then we're going to write SOHCAHTOA. We're going to write, oops, I spelled that wrong. We're going to write what's given. We were given that adjacent is x. We were given that hypotenuse is 3. Opposite is missing. So we're going to cross off opposite because that's missing. So automatically we have to use cosine. So we're going to set up our trig ratio. The cosine of 47 degrees is equal to adjacent divided by hypotenuse. AH, adjacent divided by hypotenuse. Now we're going to use inverse operations to figure out what x is. We're going to multiply both sides by 3 to get x by itself. So we're left with 3 times the cosine of 47 degrees equals x. Let's put that in the calculator. 3 times the cosine of 47 degrees. We get x is 2.045. We're going to round that to the 10th. X is 2.0 because the 4 leaves the 0 the same. The hundredths place, x is 2.05 because we look at the 4, we look next door. It's 5, so the 4 goes up to 5. Okay, pause the video and try the next one. Okay, you should have labeled the triangle first. Opposite. Across the 90 is hypotenuse. Whatever's left is adjacent. Right SOHCAHTOA. Given. Hypotenuse is x. Opposite is 10.8. Adjacent has nothing on it. So we're going to cross off anything that has an A. Automatically we're using sine. So the sine of 57 degrees is opposite over hypotenuse. Now x is in the denominator, so we're going to do our inverse operations a little bit different. We're going to put this side over 1 and set up a proportion. Now we have two fractions equal to each other. The way you solve a proportion is using cross multiplication. So we're going to multiply x times the sine of 57 equals 1 times 10.8. That equals x times the sine of 57 equals 10.8. Then we're going to divide both sides by the sine of 57. You cannot separate the sine and the 57. They have to be together. Okay, and so that makes x equals 10.8 divided by the sine of 57. Notice where the trig function lands when you have x in the denominator. Now we're going to do 10.8 divided by the sine of 57. We get 12.877. We're going to round that. It is approximately 12.9 if we round to the nearest tenth, or 12.88 if we round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, now we're going to look at how to find a missing angle. Okay? Again, you label your triangle. You go to the angle, go across, that's opposite. Go across the 90, that's hypotenuse. Whatever's left is adjacent. And we were missing a side length here, actually. 1 second. This side's supposed to be 13. Okay, so then we write SOHCAHTOA. We were given adjacent, that equals 12. Hypotenuse equals 13, and opposite is missing. So we're going to cross off anything with an O. So that means we're using cosine. So the cosine of the angle, notice we don't know what the angle is adjacent over hypotenuse. So this time what we have to solve for is theta. So we have to do the inverse operation of cosine. In the calculator, you have the inverse cosine. So we're going to multiply both sides by the inverse cosine. So in your calculator, to find the missing angle, you're going to have to press the button that has cosine to the -1 power. It's already on there. That's called your inverse sine or your arc sine of 12/13. We're going to put that in the calculator. In some calculators, you have to press second and then cosine to make it inverse. Okay, so inverse cosine of 12/13, I get 22.619. Let's round that to the 10th. You get 22.6 degrees. Notice theta is in degrees. Or if you do the hundredths, you get 22.62 degrees. Okay, pause the video and try the next one. Okay, you should have labeled your triangle first. This is opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. Right, so Katoa, we were given adjacent is 13, opposite is 4, hypotenuse is missing. So we're going to cross off anything that has h. So we're using tangent. The tangent of the angle is equal to opposite over adjacent. We're trying to solve for the angle, so we're going to do the inverse tangent. So that means theta is equal to the inverse tangent of 4/13. We're going to put that in the calculator. Second inverse tangent of 4/13. We get 17.1 degrees if we round to the nearest tenth. If we round to the nearest hundredth, we also get 17.1 because it's 17.10 degrees. Hope this video helps.